the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the landing party. The crew has been on vacation for the last couple of weeks, and now we are back. We are like Nixon, tanned and rested and ready to roll. At least 3 of us are. Aaron can't make it. He just texted us because the lawn guys had run over his cable, so he can't get on to stream. So we'll hope he gets that fixed pretty soon. So let's get going with the captain's log on this stardate, 2509.17, episode 66, Day of the Dove, written by Jerome Bixby and directed by Marvin Chomsky. 1968 was a turbulent year in America, with political assassinations and the war in Vietnam hitting its zenith. Bixby was sending a clear message with his script: stop the fighting, come together, or we will endure an eternity of bloody violence. This is the only the second episode in which we see the Klingons in any meaningful way. Their appearance in The Trouble with Tribbles is more of a joke. Bixby originally intended for the Klingon captain to be Kur from Errand of Mercy. This would explain more clearly the soon-to-be renamed Kang and Kirk knowing each other from the past. Unfortunately, or perhaps not, John Colicos was in Europe doing a film and was unavailable. Michael Ansara got the role and ran with it, creating the quintessential Klingon commander. Jerome Bixby was no newcomer to Star Trek. He had already written the wonderful Mirror, Mirror and a partial script for By Any Other Name. Bixby, like many of the other sci-fi authors that worked on Star Trek, didn't quite understand the limitations of their work being translated for television. Like Spectre of the Gun and the Tholian Web, this 3rd season episode goes back after the young male audience with its action, swordplay, and adventure. So much of the interpretation of Captain Kirk as a ladies' man, shagging everything in the universe, comes from this 3rd season, when the producers wanted more romance to attract the female audience. One of the biggest disappointments of this episode is the ending, where they are laughing and patting each other on the backs to make the alien leave the ship and go off and do it again to another unsuspecting group of people. The story stops, but it's not a resolution. In Wolf in the Fold, when dealing with a non-corporeal entity, they beamed it out into space, scattering its atoms to end its reign of terror. Unfortunately, the true message of the story and the original ending ended up on the cutting room floor and would have been much more powerful. As filmed, the final scene is on the bridge where Kirk instructs Sulu to head toward a neutral planet on the Klingon Federation boundary. He tells Kang, "You'll be dropped off there. No war this time." Kang asks, why do you humans revere peace? It is the weakling's way. There is a galaxy to be taken with its riches. Spock interjects, "2 animals may fight over a bone, Kang, or they can pool their abilities, hunt together more efficiently, and share justly. Curiously, it works out about the same." Kang says one animal must trust the other, to which Kirk responds, "Agreed. Cooperate or fight uselessly for all eternity. A universal rule you Klingons had better learn. We did." And with that, the camera fades out over the thoughtful face of Kang. I think that would have been a really great ending for this episode. So, my friends, that is your captain's log for today. Let's bring in the gang. And oh my goodness, I do see a cut cable individual here as well. So he has beaten the odds. We have Anna, the Star Trek girl.
Hello.
We have the Day of the Snakes. And Piotr, the press.
You made it.
I got guys working on my yard. We got like some concrete being laid, chopped my cable in half. And so my daughter showed me how to use the hotspot on my phone, and I'm using that to leech internet onto my
Wow.
so
Wow,
we'll
look at
see
you.
how it
Next
lasts.
happy for you, man.
Look at what was that show, MacGyver?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's I got like paper clips and a coat hanger right here. If I move it the wrong way, I'm going to be out.
Well, welcome
Yeah,
everybody.
after
It's
2
good to see
weeks, it wouldn't
everyone
have been the
after our
same
break.
without
I know. My mother, my dear 94-year-old mother was very disappointed. We haven't watched Star Trek in 2 weeks. She was elated
Aw.
when I told her last night was Star Trek night. So we're
Well,
back.
she's going to be
baby.
disappointed next week. I can tell you that.
Why? What's next week?
Plato's
eye.
Stepchildren.
I
Oh,
like
I
that
love
one.
Plato's-
There's a midget.
Oh no!
Here we go.
Who
I love
are you
little
people?
I love the
Yeah.
little people. They're so little.
There's only one dwarf.
I know, but he's so little.
Question is that
But
the
he's hung
guy
like a
who
horse,
you were,
I hear.
Ew.
Oh,
that the guy you were on the couch with when you first?
Oh my god.
oh, here we go.
Here
No,
Here we go.
We're
You know
back,
what? I had
folks.
never seen one in real life until I was in college, and I was just like, my friends get embarrassed because I freak out like a kid seeing Mickey Mouse.
My little brother used to, if he saw one, I remember we were in Dairy Queen or Dunkin' Donuts or something, and one of them walked in and he was real little and he would just burst out laughing. Like we'd have to cover his mouth and everything because he couldn't fathom what he was looking at.
There's this one, and he's a security guard at Universal Studios in Orlando, and he's got like a little kid's uniform on, and he has like the little taser gun thing, and it's just like he's so little. I'm like, oh my god, he's like an action figure.
Remember when Gary Coleman was a security guard at that
Action
store, and
figure.
he was on the hood of the car trying to stop a shoplifter? It was crazy.
They're so
We had
little.
a dwarf
Times.
guy that was part of our garbage collection crew. So he'd be hanging on the back of the garbage truck, right? And then any kind of like, those garbage trucks are a little high off the ground where you got to actually dump the stuff. And I had a pallet from some of my books that was sitting out there, and he got up there. He couldn't throw the pallet in, so he threw it back on the grass and never collected it. I had to call them and say, "Hey, man, you're supposed to pick up pallets."
Aw. He's little.
That
He
midget
couldn't
wasn't doing his job.
Aw.
Anna's got such
Well,
a
we'll get to midgets next week.
Wonderful.
This week, we're talking about a guy that's 6'2" and married to Barbara Eden. So let's get on with
I
that.
always wondered though about the little people is like when they're born, how come they're not even tinier? Like they're not like this big, and then they grow to their full size. It's like relative. Like, you have a normal sized baby, but they would be born like this big.
Well, their arms are like.
Oh, you guys. You know what? You know what my daughter said when we watched this episode last night? She was there too, and the first thing she said is, "Why are these people wearing blackface?"
Oh no!
They're wearing tan
The
face.
Klingons had the shoe polish on their face
Yeah.
or whatever.
And they were always
Say,
sweating.
This is the
They
first
are.
one though where they actually tried to. One of the things that jumped out at me is they really tried to make Kang look like a different,
Yes.
a tough
Yeah.
warrior. Whereas some of the ones in the back, even though they had the paint on and stuff, still look like,
It was
extras
just paint
Mission
on.
Impossible or something.
Yeah.
But
Extras with bad wigs and paint on their
yeah,
face.
exactly. But Kang still looked good, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
his wife looked good. I will say this episode, there's a lot to talk about in it. Let me just start by saying, in general, the entire episode encapsulates the world we're living in right now. Like,
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Oh,
I was going,
absolutely.
oh my gosh.
exactly what's going on, and then you look at the spinning entity, and that could be the fucking media or the television.
Yes,
whoever's controlling
Exactly
it.
right.
And everybody's getting up. I mean, it really struck me how much, and they even
Yeah.
brought it up in there, like they brought up politics or something.
Mhm. Well, yeah,
Racial hatred and-
intolerance.
Yeah.
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 All,
All
that
that
stuff.
stuff.
Spock is the
all that stuff.
Yeah. There's some really great, things to take away from it. There's some inconsistencies in the hamminess of the acting too. I mean, Kirk is out of character when we first meet him. He's all
His
wigged
hair's
out.
not even brushed this episode. It was
I
driving me
know.
crazy.
Yeah. When he's down on the
Uh,
planet, he's grabbing the dirt and he's all, then he gets more into character later on. And I think part of that is that the writer didn't really have a handle on the characterizations, because like when he wrote Mirror Mirror, DC Fontana had to go in and rewrite most of the dialogue for that because the voices weren't right. And it said he partially wrote the one with the cubes with the
Triskelion? No, not
yeah, when they're like
by
octopus
Rose
people.
by any other name.
Yeah, by any
Yeah,
name.
Rose by any other name.
Yeah, that had to be almost
what's the-
completely rewritten.
Well, right from the
This
get-go,
one he didn't get rewritten. He 80% of everything in here is his, and I think those problems with characterization are his.
yeah, Spock seemed to be fairly consistent, but McCoy obviously had to act like he wasn't anyway.
Right.
The only one that really fell on the shoulders was, to keep it right was Shatner, because if he wasn't written correctly, because Spock kind of was. I mean, he was typical Spock.
I wondered if Kirk's sort of demeanor on the planet's surface was caused by the alien, because we saw it right away back there floating around the background, and although it hadn't been revealed what it was doing, I was wondering, like you, Graham, he seems off. But then I was like, well, is it because of that thing? So I don't know. But that's a good point.
I mean, it could be because when he gets on the ship, after they beam him up, he seems, and he's the kind of the voice of reason, but when he does go off, he's slicing the ham thick, like when Chekhov's getting tortured, he's like, Chekhov.
Well, and the funny thing is, once again, Chekhov is the one screaming and getting tortured.
Yeah,
like
he's a good screamer.
But the thing that didn't make sense right out of the starting gate, though, is them, Kang's got them holding them up and saying, you're going to beam us all up. All Kirk had to do was never beam them back up, or not just leave them on the planet once they got there. He could have just.
Well, he had to tell them. They had to hear him say, widespread beam the party.
Right.
up.
But he pressed the button on the communication. He could have just beamed up, and that would have been the end.
Yeah. He could have sent them back down. Because once they're in the transporter, and he could have sent them back down. Yeah, that's true.
Bring them on the ship. I mean, it was just made no sense. But yeah.
Yeah. Also, one of the critiques was like, when that bulkhead collapses and 380 people are trapped, they're trapped like down in the tube section, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, engineering is down there, and yet they could still get to engineering, and that means that only like 30 some odd people are up in the whole saucer section.
Yeah.
And the producer said,
430 people. I know.
Right. Yeah.
They're all down in that one little spot. It would have been like in that show, in the episode Wink of an Eye, where they're all like, I think that was the episode. It was the one where the planet's so overpopulated that it shows them in the window.
Gideon.
Oh, Mark of Gideon.
Yeah. That's what it had been like down there.
Right.
300 people in there.
Yeah.
So
I think Michael Ansari is great in this.
yeah, he's great.
He really commands.
He's the best Klingon.
Presence. Yeah,
He
really
just has so much screen presence, and
Yeah.
He had some great one-liners too. The one where he just says to Kirk, he's like, "We have no devil, but we're familiar with yours." I was like, "Oh, that was a good line."
He delivers the lines great.
Yeah.
And even when he goes, it was almost Khan-like.
Yeah.
You know, he goes, "You'll suffer in the icy cold of space."
Yeah. I like when Chekhov is screaming, "You killed my brother! You killed Peter!" You know, and he says, "And you volunteered to join him. Very admirable." I love that. I thought that was great.
How about you know what struck me too is when when they had to knock out Chekhov, basically. Like, Spock doesn't bother neck pinching Chekhov. How did they knock him out? They just
He slapped and backhand him a couple times.
Yeah, he gives him a backhand slap.
Yeah,
you know?
and Spock doesn't bother just neck pinching him, but he crumples to the ground in a heap. But then after, he's so Chekhov.
Yeah, Chekhov. My poor baby Chekhov.
You know, and he
Yeah.
walks him down to the sick. I was like, yeah, that's okay. He feels he beat up his own crewman, but it seemed a little much. And then it struck me how he had that scene with him, but then when they did that convention or whatever, when they were launching Star Trek 4 or something, one of the movies, he couldn't even remember his name. He's like, and that guy who played Chekhov.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
And Walter Koenig's like, Walter Koenig. Like,
yeah. That was really cringy.
Oh, my God.
But he's introducing the whole cast.
How do you not remember his name?
I know.
That many years,
I know.
Just it struck me in that moment.
Yeah.
The other thing that cracks me up is just the swords, like these old wooden, when they're fighting them, they look like rubber almost. But when they first pick them up, it's like, why swords of all things? Like this thing just wants to watch them sword fight for eternity.
Well, you know what was weird? Since it was sword fights, you would think this would be the highlight moment for Sulu, since he's been seen.
Right?
And they never let him fight.
The internet's going out here.
Oh no. I don't know.
Either Robbie the robot has joined the conversation.
Oh no.
Or Aaron's
frozen.
Aaron's frozen, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Somebody screen capture that. Oh shit.
Aaron. I gotta say though, guys, I won't bring it up too much, but I'm not feeling the humor after this past week. I'm still freaking lit up by everything I've been seeing on the internet and everything. And I've been getting in fights with people, and I'm just.
Oh, tell me about it.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Years too. I just can't believe what I've witnessed. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was bad, and I'm like, man, these people are. But I never thought it was this bad.
I have lost so much respect for people, and
oh my God, yes.
Like the amount of people defending murder, it's weird that this episode coincides with this event.
I know.
That's what I was saying in the beginning. I was saying
Yeah.
it's so reflective of what's going on. So dead on. It almost seems like we were meant to watch it. Because it was so that's literally what's going on right now. And
Right.
I don't know if it's ever going to change. I honestly think there should be a secession of states at this point, because I don't see it getting better. There has to be such a major cultural overhaul, and there's over hundreds of millions of people.
Dude, at that point, me and Aaron would be screwed based on where we live. Well, you guys too.
Just move.
I don't want to move. I like my house. I like where I live.
We're all in liberal states. I'm in New York. Aaron's in Oregon. You're in California, and you're in Connecticut.
It is what I've gone around correcting people, and at one point I just lost my shit on somebody. I'm gonna say who, but it was like over.
I find that hard to believe.
This fucking idea that it's Republicans, the way they fucking jump on that and try to twist it all around. It's maddening. Like, fucking.
Mm-hmm.
And then just the things they're saying, like about how I just, even if you felt like, okay, well, I wish that didn't happen to I don't condone that, but he still was this and this. Why the fuck do you need to say that? Why the fuck do you feel like you need to make that statement out on social media? Morons.
Because they're virtue signaling, because they don't care. They don't understand. And I've gotten into so many fights with people because it's like, well, they're like, he's racist. He's this. I'm like, I've been called a racist Nazi because I tweeted LOL. So I'm calling, X to doubt. Show me one video, full context of what he said that makes him racist or whatever. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
See, what a
Well,
piece
look at this piece of shit. This Tim Russ, who is in like.
Would be so disappointed in him.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. The only correct that matters. He can't keep his mouth shut. You know.
Yeah. Why do they have to say something? Even if they don't like the guy, why are they so compelled
because they're in their echo chamber, and it's just like anything else. It doesn't matter how far down the hellhole they go into the sewers, they'll still virtue signal to each other. They could be all swimming in shit and sit there and do that just to get this backslap. Doesn't matter what fucking sewer they're swimming in.
Mm-hmm.
Just unbelievable to me. It's like, my God, man, they've turned it to. It really revealed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've unfriended more people in the last week than I probably can't even imagine how many at this point. Every time I flick on Facebook, it's something else.
But you know what? I'm actually relieved is that some of these people are actually getting like consequences.
Well,
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel, like that was a good
Right.
Oh, I didn't see what happened with him.
Oh yeah, they canceled him
off the air.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
So now Colbert is gone, and this other propagandist is gone. Yeah, this guy, he sits on his high horse, makes judgments like this, and yet he made his career watching boobs bounce on a trampoline.
He's such a hypocrite.
Such a piece of shit.
These guys are they're so lost in the idea and so scared of losing their millions, and they're that they have just fucked each other. Like it's just amazing how they just sold their souls like that. Like, and then they convince themselves they're so moral and righteous, and only proving their immorality in this moment that we had last week.
Well, I don't even know if that's them talking. They're just paid figureheads for.
You don't think Kimmel really thinks it,
No, I think he's actually retarded. So that one, it's
an
just
idiot.
he's just reading a script and he doesn't do any due diligence.
Who?
He had no problem going out there and saying it though, because if you had any sense of anything, you would read the thing that the comedian, or unless he wrote it himself, and say, no, this is really fucked up. I shouldn't say this. I mean, you're not being edgy, Jimmy. You're just being an asshole.
Yeah.
What did he say?
Basically the same kind of stuff you're hearing all over the internet, that this guy was that Charlie was a terrible person, he hated gays, and the usual.
They said that the Republicans are working overdrive to make everybody think that it was a leftist, but it's like
when knowing that he was one of their own.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Well, now that they found out he's one of their own, they're trying to spin it to where, he was just defending his trans lover. And it's like,
you see that?
Now.
Oh, yeah, that guy from CBS.
Yeah.
It was ABC.
Yeah. It was a very tender.
A very beautiful moment. Like,
yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Did you see that guy's neck explode?
I can't fathom what goes through these morons' minds where they can't, that they think that's a proper thing to say. And I just saw it again with Montel Williams and Scott Jennings, a clip of that.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too.
Montel Williams is like, it was a love story or something. He said stupid.
No, Montel Williams said this wasn't political. This was this was anger over, his lover being,
when he heard the word trans, that's what set him off. Shut the fuck up, you moron.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't believe it.
What they keep forgetting is that Charlie was out there offering you, if you disagreed, walk up to the stage, grab a microphone, plead your case. He wasn't saying, he wasn't like some basement dwelling troll, like most of these people putting that stuff out there. He was actually out there and challenging these young people to think. And to maybe think against some of the propaganda that the colleges were shoving down their throats.
Well, they're going to learn the hard way this time, because I'm fucking sick of it. We're all sick of it. Everybody's sick of it. And that's it. This was, again, like they've said, this is the turning point, because it's enough of it. It's just bullshit. And Greg Gutfeld did a great piece. He was yelling at Jessica Tarlov about it, and he was on point with it.
Hey, I guess my internet's crapping out too.
the
Oh, wait a minute. This is like the mirror universe. This is
I know.
that's actually Aaron. That was actually Aaron up there. He dressed
we should have drawn a beard on Anna.
No.
It would have been the mirror universe Anna.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the episode. I will say it was crazy how the director of this really made it so dark and intimate with Chekhov and the Klingon woman. Like it was
Yes.
really dark. Like when he gets in on Chekhov's face, it was real evil. Like he was going to rape her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have the sound effect of him tearing her dress.
Yeah. It
You
was
know?
like, wow. Like I was really struck by that. I mean, I
Yeah.
always remembered that moment, but seeing it again after this many years, I was like, wow, I forgot about that. Like,
Well, it strikes you so like unsettling because Chekhov would be probably one of the last people to do something like that.
and that's why Kurt that was backhanding him, like pulled him up, peels him off or backhands him, and then feels bad for him because he's not doing it himself. But
Well, I think he felt bad because one of his officers couldn't take a couple backhands without passing out. I think he was thinking, Chekhov is a pussy now,
yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, he was under the influence of the alien, so
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, that's why. It just
Yeah.
Kurt knows that, and that's why he had pity on him. But yeah, even Spock. I mean, the moment where Spock and Scotty got into it, I love it when they show moments of Spock where he seems like undefeatable. Like he's so logical, but then when he starts to get pissed off, you get worried with that.
Yeah.
You know
Like
what I
that shot with the fist, and Kurt's grabbing his
mean?
arm.
And he just takes his arms like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, and he grabs his other arm, Yeah. He kind of manhandles him,
Yeah,
It's
know,
really cool.
the dude is working on another level.
And may I say that I have not found it completely discreet.
And he says it's so cold and icy.
Yeah. And he gets into Scotty's grill.
But the whole point I was making before about how it's so reflective more than ever, this episode should be shown everywhere right now, because it shows the effect in the media, how it brainwashes people. And it's all these fucking shows, and it has brainwashed an entire populace of people who can't think for themselves. They just listen to what these freaking, and then they say, oh, it's Fox. No, it isn't. It's all these other
Then
shows.
they go and repeat it, it's and act like it's a matter of fact. It's like, well, can you show me one video? Well, I just know.
Act like it's their own original thought. They
Yeah.
say it with such conviction, then you say, can you show me? And they can't.
The irony is that they've grown up with the internet and the world at their fingertips. If you wanted to make a point, it's very easy to check it. You're sitting on your damn computer anyway.
I know.
Yeah.
No, my best friend still hasn't texted me back since I released my video on it, and I'm just like, this is gonna be hell.
Why? What does your best friend think?
Well, I'm in California. I typically don't talk about politics with people just because, first off, I'm not really interested. Second off, because
California friend?
yes,
Okay.
which
That's-
it's like based
that's
on
pretty
her, based on her moral compass, she's a good person. But it's like it's hard to have conversations about serious matters with people here.
I got into it with my best friend from college, he's not liberal, but he doesn't agree with some of the things I say. And I'm like, I tell him, I'm like, dude, I'm not spitting my opinions at you. I'm telling you the facts, and I get very intense, as you guys know. I get very intense, and he gets uncomfortable because I get so intense. But it's like I'm just telling you facts. I'm not saying anything that I'm not inventing these things that are happening, and I try to explain it, and then these things happen, and then he gets friendly with me because he sees I'm right. It's like, look, I'm telling you, this is what's going on out there, and he doesn't see. He's like, I don't see it. I don't see it. Well, now you do. Now you see it. It's unbelievable, man.
Well, the problem is, and this was really exposed by Charlie Kirk, is that people are unwilling to engage in conversation. That discourse has been lost, and some of it's COVID, some of it's the internet. That it's taken away the ability of people to actually face-to-face sit down and air out grievances or differences of opinion. When I was a young guy, you go to a bar with your pals and maybe you didn't all agree. You might get into a conversation about politics or something like that. You might say, oh, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. But then the next thing you know, you're talking about the Yankee score and you're drinking beers together and there's no problem.
Yeah.
But that doesn't exist as much anymore.
Absolutely not. And the reason is because this particular group are people who are afraid of everything. That's what happens is they're afraid, and so they're like a school of fish, and they're afraid if they go out of that, there's safety in that school of fish.
Well, I mean,
it's an echo chamber.
It's the whole facts don't care about your feelings, and you're having conversations with people that everything is based on their feelings, and they don't want to admit the facts of situation.
I don't even think it's so much that as much as it is they've convinced themselves those are their feelings. It's not, those feelings aren't based on anything critical or based on experiences or thoughts, or it just seems like they're just parroting like robots, one after the other, the same feelings, and it's a victimhood cult. So it's not even really their feelings. I think they're just afraid because they're so used to getting their wounds licked and so used to getting attention that their worst nightmare is taking responsibility and not getting attention, not surviving on that victimhood. It's not real feelings. It's just they've convinced themselves they're victims, so they don't even know what they're really victims over. That's why they can't handle hearing. It's like hearing things that that go against their programming. They have meltdowns, and so it's like they're just programmed that way. And how do you that's what Charlie Kirk was trying to do, was deprogram them and tell them, get them to think critically, but they can't. So they just respond that it's their feelings and their hurt and all this because it's just a guilt. You're guilty for trying to pull me out of my school of fish.
Well, when you're told what to think growing up, and you don't develop critical thinking skills of your own, then all you can do is parrot what you hear.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. The internet, the internet in this way, I think, has been the worst thing that's happened to the world.
Yeah.
For that reason.
It doesn't affect us as much because we grew up in a different era where it didn't exist. Now we can use the internet as a tool and something that is not necessarily inculcated into our lives.
So that's the thing that's amazing, like about Anna, but Anna, like I don't know what you were like before I met you, Annie, or before you had all these.
Oh, she was a piece of work back then.
Ron, I'm pretty much exactly the same. I'm just internet famous now.
Yeah. Yeah. But at least you can critically think and see what you can see through the bullshit.
Exactly.
So
yeah, Anna's a bright young woman,
Thank you. Well, I grew up on a ranch, and also my parents were too cheap to have internet or stuff. So I had like a flip phone. I didn't get an iPhone till like right before I started college, and that was because I was starting college. So I had to do everything.
I didn't even get Twitter till 20.
I didn't get Twitter until I started YouTube.
I think it was 2018. I went on it, like 10 years after it was already out. Because I remember the first time my experience on Twitter, somebody called me a douchebag and said I hit on their wife.
I'm sorry.
I was like, I
apologize, Ron. Jeez.
And the funny thing is I thought about it and I remembered. I told him, I said, I've never hit on anybody's wife. I said, but I do know people's wives who have hit on me. It's the same guy I'm thinking of. His wife hit on me, and she twisted it and said I hit on her.
Oh, so she tried to Me Too you?
Yes. Well, no. She didn't try to Me Too me. She probably felt guilty because she hit on me, was afraid it was going to back to him, and then told him I hit on her. I never hit on this woman, ever. So it's unbelievable, man. And that was my first experience. I was like, fuck this thing. I'm not going on this thing. And then I relented and came out in 2018 on it.
I don't think I got on until like 2020, maybe even later than that.
Yeah, I only got on because of YouTube.
Yeah, I only got on one. It was 2020 because it was when I was starting to promote my own company, my own work, my own products. I figured I had to branch out. And even then, it sucked until Elon bought it,
Oh yeah.
and opened it up. Because
So they all moved to Blue Sky or something.
yeah, and that's the worst. I just read an article about Blue Sky saying that it's the most hateful
Oh, I can imagine.
platform, an angry platform out there.
Think about what this was like before Elon bought it. It was
hell.
Oh, it was terrible.
filled with these.
I got flagged so many times. I got flagged and kicked off Twitter for a week for sharing my own video. And then at the end of the week, just to come back on, I had to delete it anyway. I was like, this is such bullshit.
And so they've all gotten a tad better, even Instagram a little bit, but they still flag you.
Yeah. I got flagged last night on the Bros because we showed a clip from the Emmys with what's her name handing out the award for best director, Elizabeth Banks.
Oh, that bitch.
Yeah. We showed that clip.
That was the funniest freaking thing ever.
Oh my God, it was hysterical.
I was telling you how a few years ago somebody else did that with Steven Spielberg.
It was her.
Oh, it was her again?
It was her again.
It was still her?
It was her.
I thought so. I was
Wait,
like,
was that the whole, he's never had a female lead? And they're like,
Yeah.
and so they had to whisper in her ear, purple, color
purple.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh,
yeah.
How
And this one, she
right.
goes, we've got, was it five female directors up and only one male? You can't, the last time you can say that was never, and then she's reading the names and she gets to the guy and he's the winner, like it's a big joke. And then she opens up the envelope and he's the winner.
And the one guy wins.
Yeah. He should have gone up there and went.
Yeah. I wonder what his speech was. I hope he didn't kowtow to them about it because that would have sucked.
Listen, Blue Sky is so bad. Rob Reiner is not politically pure enough for them. Oh my God. What a hellhole.
Rob Reiner has his own channel where he's the star and he's the only one on it. So, but has anybody seen the new, speaking of that, seen the new movie,
Spinal Tap?
Spinal Tap 2, yes. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. We just watched the first one.
Did Rob Reiner direct that one too?
What's that?
Did Rob Reiner do the second one?
I don't know if he did the second one or if Christopher Guest did.
Oh man, if it was Christopher Guest, I'll watch it. But if Rob Reiner did, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah,
he's such a moron.
Yeah, those were fun movies. Those mockumentaries, Best in Show and The Mighty Wind. I love that one.
Great, man, they're great. Best in Show's hilarious.
In The Mighty Wind, it was up for best award for best original song. That one that. Yeah, that one that. It
was actually very well done.
Oh, it was beautiful. Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, and the song was written by the other guy who played Lenny and Squiggy, Michael McKean, and his wife Annette O'Toole wrote it.
Yeah, I guess the whole thing with Eugene Levy is like before he did that movie, he was supposed to play it straight or something, because he gets in the accent. First he's normal, and he gets in the accent, and he starts talking like this.
Yeah,
and Christopher Guest was like, but then as they watched it, they thought it was genius because he came up with that on his own.
It is genius because that's what happens with people that have done too many drugs.
Yeah.
Like you look at Ozzy Osbourne. I saw him one time in the street when he was filming a video, and when he's like that. It's that kind of frozen type of facial features, and you're thinking, and I thought that was brilliant.
I knew a guy like that back where I grew up in Cornwall, Connecticut here, and he used to walk around town with his fingers going like this. His name was Harry. Everybody knew him, but he had a nervous breakdown. And he was, did too many drugs, and so it just fried him. He was a nice guy, and he would wait, and you could have a conversation, but he had these mannerisms that just,
right,
revealed that he had beat himself up over the years.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what did you think of that scene, Anna? The Chekhov almost raping the Klingon?
I mean, I had no strong feelings on it considering it wasn't really him. It was
Yeah.
the alien. So
Yeah.
Yeah, think about like if that was made today. Let's say that whole crew was alive today and Roddenberry's running it, and it wasn't the SJW bullshit type of TV you get today. But meaning that the censorship wouldn't have been there. Imagine how powerful that episode could have been if they had the ending that I talked about in the
Yeah. I mean,
captain's log, and the violence that was basically told to you via radio style. These people are coming in with limbs hacked off and their hearts pierced, and from all those sword fights and everything. Imagine if you saw these guys, and then all of a sudden they're completely rehealed and they show up again.
yeah, that would have been a cool idea. Like when what's his name? He runs right into the sword deliberately. The red shirt guy, I forgot his name. He runs. He's like, oh, like he comes at him with the sword, but you can see he runs right toward it.
Yeah.
And then he heals. But that would have been a really interesting. Like if they used that and made that as a movie, all the things you could do with this. Again, the concept of it.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
It's a really good concept. But the thing that's good about it too is that it really delineates the bad and the bad and the just, I think, really well, and regardless of the entity in a way, because the Klingons are savages and they're just, they just want to plunder and,
Where were the Organians when this was all going on?
that's the other thing. This is
they're minding their own business.
Well, that's the other thing about this episode I was going to mention is that it's interesting because you had not the Organians, but the Metrons, and they put Kirk, fighting the Gorn on the planet, and this is another recreation of that where they're pitted against each other, but it's done by a bad entity.
An entity that's feeding off of that stuff.
Feeding off it. Yeah.
It's basically a selfish move,
And what was that entity? It was just a spinning energy thing, and I know, where were the Organians during all this?
Yeah, because the treaty got broken.
Again,
and you think that would set them off,
Right.
Maybe it didn't because it wasn't really them, so the treaty technically didn't get broken.
Or maybe that entity.
Why didn't the Organians step in and squash that stupid entity then?
Well, that entity it would have been cool if that entity was what caused the Organians to evolve and become more peaceful because it did something to their people. It would have been a cool thing to explore there. I mean, that entity isn't the only one. I think Spock sort of speculated that maybe it was with that entity, this particular entity is the one who fed off negative emotions, but there might have been others that fed off different kinds of emotions.
Yeah. But this one could transmute matter, repair, I guess with the same technique that you could create a sword out of nothing, that you could regenerate organs and all of that, repair things. So it's a pretty powerful entity.
And the only thing they had to do was laugh.
Yeah. And send it off into space to do it to somebody else.
Well, I thought about that right when that show was ending. I'm like, wow, that thing's just going to go off and do it to someone else. But what could they do with it? There's nothing they could really do. That they had no control. It's one thing when they could put something in a transporter, like you were mentioning, but they're not going to be able to harness that thing any which way. It's just going to, because it can go right through their walls.
Yeah, as written.
There's nothing they could. Yeah,
that's the key. As written,
right. They could have come up with a.
Yeah, they could have written something else where
what they could have done was draw it into a containment thing,
right?
Having people argue or something, pretend they're arguing, or and then trap it somewhere.
Yeah, in the antimatter containment pod or something.
They would have used the Ghostbusters thing.
There you go. Yeah.
Cross the streams.
Crossing the streams bad, Ray. All right, so let's get some grades here. Aaron sent his grade in.
He finally gave up on it, huh? He just said, I can't.
Yeah, he says my internet is just breaking up. I can't hold it together. So 7.5 is Aaron's rating.
I admire his attempt. It was a worthy effort.
That's what I said to him. I said, you gave it the college effort there. Not modern college, by the way.
Did you read Russell's question?
Oh, Russell. Russell, I will answer that so Graham doesn't have to read it. It's next gen.
No, that's not
This
the
one.
one.
When did they?
That one, yeah.
They did in next gen. They've.
So they have like extra organs and everything. So
Yeah, everything's a duplicate, right? Isn't that what they
Yes.
said?
Mhm.
But they have two sets of.
I don't know, but there is serious speculation from the Russell Hall types of the world.
The Russell Hall type.
I remember that episode where
I like
Ward
Russell.
got paralyzed.
I think Russell's funny.
Russell is funny. He's a
Mm.
special person.
Special needs person?
No, he's just special.
Yeah. That's
You
good to
and
be special.
Anna and Russell. How's Peaches?
Peaches is doing good. He's upset about the whole Charlie Kirk thing, but
I'm
yeah.
sure we all are.
And how's
He
your
had
baby?
just seen him. Charlie did something down here in SoCal, and Peaches went. So he's like, "I'm so glad that I went to that." When
You know, I don't to see it like when I first saw it. Like somebody wrote Charlie Kirk just got shot. I think it might have been you, Graham. And I was like, "What?" I clicked on it, or I saw it somewhere, and to see it happen like that,
I know. It was shocking when
it was so disturbing. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't believe my eyes. Like what? Like you thought it wasn't even real. Like
the first image I saw was sort of farther away and you could see him, react and fall over. But then when you saw the other angle, the more close up angle, and you could see that him getting hit in the neck.
yeah, well, there's one where it was right in front of him, like he's sitting there.
Yeah.
talking, and you just see.
That was the first one I saw.
Yeah.
You saw the blood just. Like
Oh
that.
yeah, and you knew that
I knew
like the
instantly.
carotid artery got hit right there. I
Yeah.
mean, so much came out. There's like, there's no way.
Somebody asked me if because I think I immediately wrote to someone and it says, okay, so there's no way he's going to make it through that.
Well, they kept trying to say, "Oh, they got him into stable condition," and I'm like, the amount of blood he lost, like, he's going to be a vegetable. Your brain
Oh
can't.
yeah, his brain would have been damaged from the
Who
lack.
said that? I know that he didn't die instantly, but I don't know
Yeah.
if he was ever in stable condition.
Well, that's what they said, that they rushed him to hospital, but still, I'm just like,
It was over.
Yeah.
your brain
He had a
doesn't work
pulse.
after you lose that much blood. Like, once your brain is deprived of blood and oxygen, you're done.
And the saddest part too is I'd like to think he didn't feel or know anything, but I still question that because we'll never know. But I mean, because his arms almost looked like they went up for a second because he knew, and then he.
No, it's
No,
reflex.
he went
It's
like this.
reflex. Yeah.
He slumped over.
And then to hear his daughter was right there, and she was like, "Why
He
can't I
went
go
running
see
towards him.
why can't I see my daddy?" I mean, I
Yeah.
just
Oh,
and then to have these motherfuckers, I can't deal with
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
Every one of you fuckers out there, if you see this, you stay the fuck away from me. You fucking pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah. There's disgraces of humanity because, it's one thing to disagree with somebody, and that's fine. This guy wasn't a real Hitler. He wasn't he was just a young man expressing himself, which is guaranteed to all of us in the First Amendment of the Constitution. And to go to this length, you've killed a man, you've killed a father, you've killed a husband, and you can't even garner up the compassion because you disagreed with him to have compassion for that loss. For him.
I get
Where's the human empathy?
I get that. Well, that's not even empathy. Empathy, again, I explained this to somebody else because they used that word against him when he died. A couple of people were like, well, they quoted him as saying, I don't believe in empathy. They totally took the quote out of.
Yeah, I know the quote.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I guess I don't need to have any for you, Charlie, or shit like that. But empathy, like for instance, in the show, The Empath, the episode, she goes over and her empathy is because she can touch and feel the pain and take on the pain of. That's what an empath does. But most people say they're empathetic, but it's not true. This is the point he was making. Is that if I go up, this is a point I made to someone else anyways, if I go up to somebody who's got a broken leg and I say, I'm an empath, I put my hand on the leg and I claim I can feel the pain of the broken leg. but you can't, because it's impossible for you to feel that. So when people say they have empathy, they don't really. So it's almost like a virtue signal in a way. But the person with compassion and sympathy is the one who walks over and says, "Oh my God, you have a broken leg," and brings you to the hospital. That's the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you,
so that's somebody that's right there. If you're 1,000 miles away and you watch this on TV, you can have sympathy as well for the family, but you can also have empathy, because you as a human being, you understand that pain, you understand that loss, and it's
right. Oh,
empathetic
of course.
to feel that way. And to go after him and say he earned it, and you're just a human pile of shit,
Mhm.
that you can't even gin up I don't care if you don't have any empathy for when the SEALs took out Osama bin Laden. The man killed thousands of people.
Well,
That's a very different thing. But
yeah,
No,
they
but
try
they
to
try to
equate
argue that
that.
it's the same.
Yes, they equate that it's the same
I
thing.
know that about bin Laden. I know it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, my point was going to be is that they're not. I don't even think it's about that to them. I think they're just taking quotes out of context. I don't believe that they're not smart enough to see what he's actually saying. To read the quote. I think they just want to tear him down because of what he believed,
Yeah.
not because they truly believe it
Because
themselves.
it's hate. It's hate.
It's
Mhm.
abject hate for the sake of it.
Hmm.
Not because of what he said or anything else. They just need to hate because it's giving them life now. Hatred is what's sustaining them. So it's just for the sake of it.
Hmm.
It's all disingenuous bullshit,
Hmm.
because they're just swallowed up in hatred, because hatred is what's giving them life, and that's the devil's work. When you get to the point where hatred is giving you life, that's the fucking devil in you. That's satanic, man. I
Hmm.
mean, and I never, I always questioned the entities of that, whether they were real entities or, but these last bunch of years, and then finally this, I see it for what it really is.
Hmm.
It's truly a force in the universe, this entity of evil.
Hmm.
You can't get to this point, because what saves you from that is believing in something greater than yourself. So that proves it. If you believe in God and all these things that informs your morals, then that saves you from having hatred keep you alive. And these people don't have that. They're very nihilistic. They believe in nothing. So yeah, I've never seen anything like it. I think the only time I felt a little bit like this was when I saw them trying to pass laws about aborting babies in the 9th month.
Mm.
I'm like, this is absolutely satanic. Like, what?
This is all connected, Ron. All that stuff is connected.
It
And it starts with the destruction of God. And that goes back to Stalin and Marx, is you kill God first. And without God, then life doesn't have meaning. And if life doesn't have meaning, then you can control people. You can keep them in fear. And
That's
this
what I was
is
saying
part.
before. It's all fear.
Yeah, it's keeping people in fear to make them do what you want, for one thing, but then what they're doing is devaluing human life. So when you do this, something as heinous as this, uh, I'm not a bad person. I just took out a Nazi. I just took out a fascist. Aren't they the worst people on the planet? I'm a hero. This is what their warped sense of being is like, without the presence of God or a higher being in their life to
And I
give
look
them a
at
moral
I look
foundation.
I look at the media. Like, if you look at God, God has his archangels like Michael,
Yeah,
and then you look at the media. Their demonic archangels are the media mouthpieces and the Democrats.
yeah, yeah.
They're constantly feeding this, and they know it. They know they're even more evil because they know what they're saying. They know they're feeding the public all this bullshit. So they'll get votes. This really is a battle of good and evil now.
It is.
It's beyond politics. It's good versus evil. It's a real force of, a battle for. It really truly is now.
Well, it just honestly proves the point that Gina Carano was making when she shared that meme about how it's like, You want to know how the Nazis took over? It's this way. They made you turn on your neighbor. That's how people were able to dehumanize Jews. And it's like, but those people that are praising Charlie Kirk, it's like, you do realize that in this situation, you're the Nazis. You have no empathy.
Praising Charlie Kirk?
Praising like the murder.
Oh, praising the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The murder of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. That was an important word to get in there.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, are we the bad guys all the time?
No.
All of a
Sorry.
sudden I realized
What do you want, Anna?
later.
I'm not the one praising murder. That's the side I'm.
Good for you. That's
Yeah.
great. Oh man. So
Well, Gutfeld made a good point. Like, if you can,
Gutfeld has been on fire.
yeah.
Who is that?
On the 5.
He's a comedian who has his own show called Gutfeld,
Yeah.
but he's actually an extraordinary intellect when he wants to analyze things.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
really dead on most of the time, and he's usually more right than anybody he's sitting with.
Yeah. He's more like a kind of a cross between a conservative and a libertarian.
Yeah, he's very smart.
But you know how when you get angry and you're in an argument and all of a sudden the anger takes over and you lose control of the facts and you're like, but this guy, the angrier he gets, the more laser focused he is. And
Yeah.
he just yesterday when Jessica Tarloff, the liberal person that sits around that table, started to equivocate things, he would have none of that, and he just tore her a new one.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's torn a new one, but usually he acquiesces and tries to keep it cool. This time he was like,
Yes,
"Don't hand
he
me."
apologized, but it wasn't phony. I'm sorry, but he's apologizing for his output.
Said, "I know you're not like this, Jessica, but
Yeah.
we're done with this shit. So don't hand me this bullshit." Because she tried to pull up that Democratic person who worked for Tim Walz or something who was murdered at her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anybody. And he made the good point. We didn't even know who that was. And we don't know who the killer was. It was somebody who knew Tim Walz, who did it for their own personal reasons. It wasn't this political.
It's because she voted against the funding for the illegal. She kind of went with the Republicans on the funding for the illegal immigrants.
Oh, geez. Surprise, surprise.
And that's why he killed. It was another Democrat that killed this Democrat because she didn't toe the line.
But you see how because everything I've seen, they spin it that it was a Republican who did that to her.
Yeah, exactly.
They're lying. They just lie.
He was hired by Walz.
And lie. It's like, my God, man.
Yeah. And that's the kind of shit you're constantly fighting when you get into these arguments with them, is they just throw that stuff up like it's a fact. And if you're not on your game, they bury you with all that bullshit.
I unfollowed him. I've known him for years. He's like, oh, what he said, the far right Republicans are twisting themselves into pretzels to make sure that this was a leftist shooter when it was actually one of their own. I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was not a Republican. He wasn't. His family was conservative. He was he was radicalized over the last year. Even his parents said so. You fucking, and then it's like, and it's like, and then then somebody else comes and says something, and then I just fucking go. I'm like, I just leave it at that. I don't bother getting into it with him.
Yeah. As soon as it happened, I had made a post about how, the left can't stand an argument, and I got attacked by a couple of people saying, how can you say that this is the left? We don't know that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, just wait.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, I was right.
You can make a pretty good guess right off the top. Why? I mean, it's just stupid. Yeah, we all know who Charlie Kirk was. We all know that, what was going on there anyway. Who would have killed him at a rally of all places? Oh, sure, it was. And like that idiot on ABC who said, oh, it was probably one of his fans shooting off a bullet, and it was a
was so bad.
How moronic can you be? I mean,
I said in our thread, with Jusco and Billy, I said nobody fires off a weapon from a high point to a low point in celebration. Nobody aims down when you're celebrating.
Woo woo.
Yeah, woo woo woo. Yeah,
but it just happened to hit Charlie Kirk in the neck.
Yeah.
Freaking idiots.
That was just stupidity. They grasp at straws. They just constantly.
They can't say what it really is because it destroys their narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Greg said. He said they did because for them to, they'd have to admit that it's them, and he's right. It's like they have to admit they're the bad guys. They've always been the bad guys.
Yeah, it's this far left movement. It's like there are Democrats. That used to be in the party. Look at Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, Joe Manchin. These were, and I would throw Fetterman in there too. Those are true Democrats. They might differ over policy than Republicans, but they love their country. They're willing to compromise. They're willing to figure things out. These AOCs and the squad, this far left group has hijacked this party.
Well,
and
you know why? It all started magically in 2008.
Oh yeah. Well, and look at that asshole was going off today saying all this rhetoric is caused by Trump because he was calling people, bad names and stuff like that. But meanwhile, they were calling us deplorables, and
Trump didn't fucking start it.
Nazis.
Hey, everybody out there, Trump did not start it. The fucking Democrats started it with Trump.
Yeah.
The Democrat, Rosie O'Donnell, fucking started it. That's what started it. And then Obama started it. And then the fucking jackass Seth Meyers started it at the fucking dinner. They started it. They were busting his balls and making fun of him, and they started it. But then he fights back, and all of a sudden, he's Hitler.
Yeah.
Because because he challenged you fuckers who were so full of yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And your political party, and so because you were in power, just loving each other, because we're so good. We elected the first black president. Look, we're in it. We're in our own club, and and that's what started. You guys did. I watched it when Rosie O'Donnell was making fun of Trump and his hair and this and that. That's what started it all. Fucking moron.
Where is she now?
Yeah. And I'm no look. I get Trump is abrasive. I've seen it. I think he can be a real piece of work at times.
Yeah,
he can be. I mean, just the other day I was cringing and I got pissed because he's like, somebody asked him how he's feeling about Charlie Kirk, and then he fucking, I'm doing okay. Yeah, things are good. And then he just starts pointing at the ballroom being built. It's like, dude, it was just a couple days after. It's like, what are you doing pointing at the ballroom? He's asking you a question about Charlie Kirk, for fuck's sake. So he drives me crazy sometimes. It's like Ben Shapiro would say, there's good Trump and bad Trump. But he's been better because you just stand back and talk about your policies and stuff and what you're doing. And that's the best. But sometimes he says shit that pisses me off.
Me too. I mean, he's better now than he was in his first term. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
His first term, he was like, just stay away from the microphone. Stay away from. Oh no, he's going towards the mic. Oh no.
Yeah, I know. No. And it's either going to be hilarious or you're going to be like, you fucking moron.
Yeah, you're killing the movement here. Yeah. But
he lacks some self-awareness at times with his mouth. It just runs on its own.
Yeah.
And for a guy his age, that's the thing that he was lacking, was that wisdom. That's why I can understand why, and I'm fine with that people have a hard time wanting to follow somebody who could show a lack of wisdom in that regard, as far as politically and being a leader and things like that. But he wasn't meant to be. I don't think he was not meant to be, but I don't think he didn't have experience being a leader in a political fashion at all. He was a guy from New York, a brash guy from New York. So I can totally understand why people wouldn't get behind. That's fine, but he's not the fucking murderous, Hitler, because he cracks jokes about people or comes up with their names for them. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, we got to get some grades in here. We have Aaron's at 7.5. By the way, we are a Star Trek show. We were talking about.
It had to do with this episode, to be fair.
Well, no doubt about it. It was very, very timely, and just coming back from vacation, this happened while we were gone, and I think it's very apropos that we do talk about it. Especially in light of the episode that we're talking about.
To come up with a name. That's why I came up with Day of the Snakes. I was trying to come up with a funny name. I couldn't bring myself to do it because I'm not feeling that right now. That humor. I'm so disgusted with everything I've seen. I'm 62. In my lifetime, I never thought I would see something like this. I've always thought there's battles we're going to have to fight in life, but this is a real existential crisis that the left always likes to talk about. This really is. This is bad. So,
well, I'm always comforted by history, and I look back at 1968 and that era there between 68, or actually between 62 and 70. We were knee deep in the Vietnam War, the Tet Offensive. We had Robert F. Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all assassinated within that frame. They had the Democratic Convention, the riots, Chicago riots, all that stuff, all within that decade. So yeah, stuff sucks right now. It does, but it can always be worse.
Well, yeah, but I agree with you 100%. I'm thinking that this is something so different that we've not experienced, that the country's never experienced before. This is not the America that was meant to be. And that's the difference. Is like back then it was civil rights and things like that. And all these, this is just a battle of good and evil. There was no such thing as the internet. It's a whole different thing where we have to get through.
Well, I think the real difference is the internet in that, okay, back in the late 1960s, you could turn it off. You had ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS. That was it. Then you could turn your TV off and choose not to. We are inundated in the information age, so you can't turn this stuff off. So it's always there. And that way, it also seems worse than it is. Everything is hyped up. That's not to minimize what happened with Charlie. An assassination is assassination. It's just that the whole aspect of news is you'll hear about the plane that crashes, but you won't hear about the 8,000 planes that landed on time. That's news. And so you have to remind yourself that God exists and he is in this world and there is good in this world. And it's not the shithole.
Well, it's a true
hearing about.
I don't anthropomorphize God. I feel God as a force in the universe, and so is the devil. I mean, it's something we can't comprehend, but you feel it and it's there. I mean, that's in my interpretation of it. Steve, thank you for that clarification. I didn't know that was a redone video. Okay. That makes a little more sense because I couldn't believe it when I saw it. But anyway, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, Graham. All right. What's your score, Anna? Banana?
Before, I would always skip this episode. Like if it was on, I'm like, oh my God, I hate this episode. Just skip. Watching it today made me respect it a little bit more. Like I do like a lot of the one-liners. I think he was a fantastic addition and probably should have been in Star Trek more.
Yeah.
But again, it's not something that I'm like, ooh, let's watch this.
You're talking about Michael and Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
He was actually when the camera was on, you felt like he was a little bit more.
I wish he would have been in it more, not just below decks for so long. I wish we would have seen his point of view more.
Yeah, he has real presence, almost like it was beyond television or something.
Yeah, they're saying Fiction Method. He does come back on Deep Space Nine. There's a great episode because actually all of them,
isn't Core there and
I gotta see some of these things, man. Now I gotta YouTube that.
Well, so
Jadzia
Dax, so she's a species that gets introduced in Next Generation. They're called the Trill, and so it's like a symbiote that bonds with a Trill humanoid host. And so the symbiote, each time the human host dies, it moves on to a new one, but it carries the memories and it morphs.
That chick.
Yeah, it's the chick. But so the person before her was an old man named Curzon, and he was I know this is so nerdy. He was the ambassador.
Ron goes, the chick. But I know what you're saying. You're saying the speckles on her face, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Speckles.
The chick.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
actually, on Facebook.
her previous host was Curzon, who was the ambassador for,
I think I saw that.
and so he was friends with the Klingons. So we
And they
get all
sleep
3 of the
together.
main Klingons on like one big hurrah. It's a good episode.
Yeah, there's some weird sexual thing there too, because it was a guy in her body, and I don't know. I remember seeing
Well,
something.
usually a guy in
I
Marvel
was
too.
kind of creeped out by that whole concept
Yeah.
of Dax and the Trill thing.
Why?
And then she had an affair with Worf or something, didn't she, or something?
She eventually marries Worf, yeah.
So Worf is banging an old male ambassador from another planet.
No. So the symbiote has memories of past hosts, but she's currently a woman.
Okay, gotcha.
But it could eventually transition to a guy.
Like you.
But the thing with that, so the humanoid, they're not allowed to have previous relationships with people they were previously in relationships with, because they believe that the new host has to have their own life and can't just relive the previous host's life.
Okay.
You can still be friends with your past friends and stuff, but you're not allowed to have like romantic relationships like with your past spouse.
Yeah, but you don't leave until the host dies, right?
Yeah.
So how could you have another? You're talking about the little critter thing?
The
Can't have a
symbiote.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty good gig for the symbiote, boy.
Right?
Well, they all want it because it's really prestigious to have one, because you gain all this knowledge and experience, and so there's not enough symbiotes for the amount of people on the planet, so they're really sought after.
What is the symbiote thinking though when people are getting it on? Like
Likes it, I guess.
Like wow.
Well, he's got all the memories.
Yeah.
So he's like, Pornhub,
Mm.
So what's your score, Anna?
I'd probably give it a 6.
A 6? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
It's not
solid.
one I'll continuously rewatch, but I think I've gained more from it now.
Conceptually, I would give it a high score. I think I like Graham's idea of like the hacking of limbs or the watching the wounds heal and stuff would be interesting. I'm going to give it I'd have to give it, I almost want to give it 2 scores. I want to give it a 10 because of how much it's reflecting what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so dead on. I was like, felt like I was watching this week in an old Star Trek episode. Like I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, how am I watching this and all this is going on right now in this 60 years later?
Right.
So, I would give it.
Humanity hasn't changed that much. That's why.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, man, they were talking about this back then. And here it is still going on in 2025, like this kind of theme, So, but it hit home for me for that reason, but I can't give it a 10 because it's technically not a 10.
Oh,
but
it's no way a 10.
Yeah, I would probably give it. I like Aunt Sarah a lot.
Yeah.
I love the way he smacks Shatner on the back.
Okay.
Like he really tries to hurt him there on purpose. I think I read somewhere that he did it, ad-libbed that, like really cracked him in the back on purpose.
It made sense for his character.
But I think it was because Shatner flirted with Barbara Eden or something. That's
actually, according to the book, Aunt Sarah really liked Shatner.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was because
they got along really well, and he couldn't believe how much like Shatner was the glue to that show,
Well, he was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that. I liked the scene with Chekhov. I thought was powerful. That was really some interesting directing there, and it seemed they really drove that insidious point home, which was rare for Star Trek. So that was something new, different that I hadn't seen before. Yeah, I'll give it I thought the sword fights were a little hokey.
Yeah.
If you watch those, you break those down, you watch them, you see how choreographed they are, and they're doing the same move with the sword.
Yeah.
They go down and then they go back up. It's at least Shatner and Sarah made it look like it was kind of legit.
Yeah, they were doing theater swordsmanship.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very Shakespearean.
Yeah, very, very much so.
So I like that, but I didn't like the other sword fights. But anyway, so I'll give it a 7.
Okay. Okay. I agree with all that. I like Michael Ansara. Some of the ham acting, I think, takes it down a notch. That planet was terrible.
How about McCoy? Like to see him be that when are we going to start acting like military men instead of fools? You know, to see.
Yes.
Him.
I thought that was one of D. Kelly's best scenes.
Yeah, and I was actually chuckling to myself, saying, "Imagine if that was actually McCoy's character, like through the whole show all the time. You know, it wouldn't be the same show. That's why it was so effective to see him behave that way, because he's usually the opposite."
Yeah. Let's see what else. Like Michael Ansara, you know, I this is one of those ones where the adventure aspect, I remember liking it as a kid because the Klingon was mean. There was sword fighting. It seemed like there was a lot at stake in it. You know, I didn't see a lot of the flaws that I see as an adult now. You know, when I watch it, but this was one of those third season episodes where if it was on, but in the TV guide, oh, that's a good one. You know, but I think I would give this a 6.5.
Okay. So it's basically a 6.5. You get the win because you throw out the highest and lowest score. So
Right.
I will say this about the show again. It's another episode where I feel like we're in an area of space that just seems so removed from the Federation and from anything Earth, and it just like they're in some dark corner of the universe that's murky and dark and lonely. There's something about this season that feels that way to me, and I do think part of it is because in the beginning everything's fresh and there's some lighter episodes, and they're establishing bonds like a family on the ship and everything, and then by the time this season rolls around, we've been through all these adventures with them, and then it just feels like I said, just darker and murkier in this part of wherever they are, and they're almost lost somewhere.
Well, I think the reason for that is twofold. One is the cinematographer changed, and so the lighting is different in it. There's like really. Did you see the sick bay in this thing?
The colors,
pink purple wall, all lit up like that. So that's one thing. And you said it feels lonely, like they're out lonely in space. Well, that's definitely budget because there's hardly anybody walking the halls. You know, so the Enterprise seems big.
Maybe that's why it seems empty or something.
Yeah. You know, you look at those early ones, people are walking around in tennis outfits, you know, because, you know, they're off duty.
Yeah, think about the Tholian Web episode where even that one, there's nobody in the fucking ship.
Right.
And Kirk's floating around. It just everything feels so lonely and dark.
You can't hire enough extras like they could in the beginning.
That's exactly.
You know, nowadays they would just do like, hey, any nerds got a costume want to come in the background? We would all just do it.
You're absolutely right. That's a good point, because part of what made you feel like you're part of something in the earlier episodes, like in the Journey to Babel, there's a whole crew there, and there's people around, and and there's Sarek, and and there's all this stuff that happens within that government and that and the Federation and all these things. But this just seems like
look at the Corbomite maneuver when Kirk gets called and he's got his shirt off. He'd been doing the exercise thing in the sick bay, and he goes out into the hallway.
Judo, and
yeah, he's walking in the hallway, and people are crossing in front of him. There's the guy and the girl in the tennis outfits, and they're walking by. Then you have guys in like suits, different kinds of suits, like working on parts of the machinery in the background. It really felt like there was 430 people on that ship.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I'll have to look back at some more of these episodes, see how many episodes where we see actual crew members.
Yeah, that's not just on the bridge.
Yeah, because I think that's right. I think there's just something missing there. Like it's something human missing in this season, and that's what it is. It's humans.
Yeah, extras.
The way that they got away with it on this is that everybody's trapped, so you can't get to them.
Oh yeah, it was a great write out. Yeah.
What was the last episode a couple weeks ago we watched? Was
For the world is hollow and I've touched the sky.
And there too, it's like there's nobody there. It's just, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, like when they beam down to that asteroid, they don't even take a security detail with them.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
just becomes
You
it's
got the
like
captain,
almost
the
like,
first officer, and the chief medical officer. I
the
mean, if
whole
those three guys
ship.
get killed,
You're absolutely right. It's almost like the whole ship is just being run by Scotty, Sulu, Chekhov, Kirk, McCoy, and Spock,
yeah,
and a few others. But that's it.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I think it's so funny that, Sulu goes off to do that movie. They bring in Chekhov. Sulu finally comes back in the third season, and they don't give him anything to do.
Well, they gave him a line this time, like, "Who's Piotr? What's wrong with
Yeah,
you?"
yeah, one little line, but Chekhov
like
gets
down
all
there.
the gravy. He gets the rape scene. He gets the screaming scene on the planet. He gets to really unload.
That's what I was thinking. Like when the camera's up close on him, and I'm like, and he's with the woman. I'm like, are they doing this on purpose? Because Chekhov is like this sort of little pop star guy on the show, and he's a teen idol type, like Davy Jones, and there's a sexuality there they're trying to bring out, and she was an attractive female, and and she played it really well, her fear of it. She was in
He was
Dallas.
really good. Yeah.
She was in Dallas. She was
Yeah.
you know what she does? She's an executive on the board of directors for the NRA.
Is that right?
No, she's in her 80s, and she's George Bush appointed her
Wow.
or something.
No kidding.
Yeah. She's
Wow.
a staunch conservative. She lives in Texas, and her daughter is also a conservative voice.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. But she also writes TV shows and things like that. She's 85 or something now.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Her career.
She was 24 when she did that show, so that was 1968.
Yeah.
So what would that have been? 34? 24? No. 1950, right? So no.
She
40.
was- What was 40?
I was thinking she was born in 1940.
Oh, I think
No, but it would have been a little bit later because if she was 28,
42, I think she was born.
42. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so that would put her 80, 83?
Yeah, she's about 83. I think.
83, yeah.
My mother was
She's
born.
younger than my grandma.
Grandmother's how old?
Almost 90.
Shatner's
wow.
older than your grandma.
Shatner was the same age as my grandpa. They were both born in 31.
I still can't believe that fucker's 90, 94. I was staring into his 93-year-old eyes.
I met him when he was 92.
And he was staring into your hate-filled, angry eyes.
I wasn't hateful at all. I was like,
I don't know. He read it that way. He was scared.
clearly. I mean, there's got to be some way the universe will put me back into position with him somewhere.
Into the good graces.
Let's go to the Star Trek convention. We can all be backstage on the couch next to him.
We should plan to do that in next September.
Yeah, because it would be funny.
Hopefully, I'll be super pregnant by then, though. Fingers crossed.
No, hopefully you'll have had the baby and you won't be pregnant, and then you can go.
No, I can still go when I'm super pregnant, and then I don't have to wait in line for anything. It's great.
Have we decided that we're doing something where in San Diego?
No, it's in Vegas.
Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. Have we decided we're going to do that?
Well, we'd like to.
Oh, by the way, yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Are we ever going to go to Ticonderoga or wherever?
Well, that was the other thing we talked about doing. If we can get our West Coast friends out.
Well,
All
even
right.
if they can't go, Graham, you and I should go.
Yeah.
I mean, is it on? You have to cut across.
Yeah, I got to cut
You're
completely across
you
the
have to
state.
cut across. For me, it's only a few hours.
Yeah, it's
3 hours.
probably 6 hours for me.
It's only like 1,000 miles away from me.
Yeah, but you can fly and it cuts.
Yeah. And Shatner's going to be there this month.
Dude, we got to just go, man.
He's gonna take one look at you, Ron, and be like, "Oh, I must get out of here."
We should no. I should grab you like by the scruff of the neck, and I go, Bill, here he is. I tracked him down.
He'll just go and walk off like he did when he.
Who is that?
like, hey man, didn't mean to catch you off guard back there. Walks away.
Oh shit.
I was like, what the fuck, man? I was just trying to be nice to the guy. I'm like, man, you were this and that to me when I was a little kid, and that was my opportunity, and he was having none of it. I think he thought I was trying to be pretentious, but I was just nervous. I didn't know what to say. I just wanted to meet him.
Sure.
And so I was just trying to tell him who I was, but I think he thought I was like when I've analyzed it over and over again. The only thing I think is when I said I was a guest of the show, he thought I was trying to be, I don't know, like pretentious myself.
Somebody should have introduced you to him.
Yes.
They shouldn't have just
That's where
thrown
the
you.
problem started.
Yeah.
Well, no, they did. He did. He said, Mr. Shatner, this is Ron Garney, blah, blah. And he didn't even give it a chance.
Well, that's it. The guy bailed.
Who is this?
Right.
And then I'm like, and the guy got all nervous and bolted out of there when I said, whoa, because he was like upset. And I'm like, whoa, I'm a guest of the show, and I was told to come down here so we could meet each other. Because that's what I was told. I go down there, he's gonna be down there, and I thought he knew.
Right.
So I was trying to tell him that, and he just turned around and sat down and just picked his phone up and just, I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm just standing there with him, just myself.
Yeah.
Just standing there looking at him like this old man now. And it was just so fucked.
You know what's weird though, Ron? It's like, have you seen that video of him? I think he was at the Nashville airport and he's waiting at the Uber station, and a guy's walking by and he just happened to be like,
yeah,
you saw that? Well, did you see his reaction? It was like, okay, he called him out in the open.
Please leave me alone. Like you could see his.
Well, but he answered a couple questions. He wasn't fearful. He was just like, okay, this is part of my life, all that. Whereas
you can see he was like wishing he puts his face in his phone almost as a way to keep people out.
Sure.
So they won't bother him.
Yeah.
I believe I totally understood why he was like that.
Yeah.
For me, it was a different experience because it was I thought he knew, and my whole life it brought me to that moment. So, but I understood why he'd feel the way he did. And then, and so it is what it is.
Fiction Method, is there a Star Trek convention in Cleveland that we don't know about?
I'm going to say I don't want to go to Cleveland.
Okay.
Please don't make me go.
Why?
Because I don't want to.
You don't
That's
like
not a reason.
That's not an explanation.
Okay. Well, if I'm going to spend time and money away from my family, it's going to be to go to someplace I actually want to go to.
I get that. If you're gonna
sure.
time, I get it. You don't.
But we're gonna be there.
But Vegas.
I have met you before. And where did I meet you?
Florida.
Orlando.
Yeah.
Ron, I will wait until Vegas to meet you, or the Star Trek ship.
And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Oh my gosh.
Who knows what's going to happen?
I know one thing's going to happen. We're going to go out in the desert and shoot machine guns.
I'll do that in a New York minute, man.
Yeah. I did that last time I was there. It was awesome.
Yeah. How'd you get a hold of that? Them?
Yeah, there was a package. You could just order it, and they come pick you up at the hotel, drive you out into the desert.
Gun license, obviously.
What's that?
You have to have your gun license, right?
No.
You don't? They don't require that there?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's different here in Connecticut. You have to carry it with you.
Yeah, no, because you're tagging onto their gun license. I mean, you can't. We're talking automatic weapons. You have to have a federal firearms license for that.
Yeah,
so they have a special license that people can rent. You pick these packages. You want to do World War II guns, World War II U.S. Army, or
you'll give to fire off a freaking Kruger or or the old
the Sten or the. You're talking about German gun?
Yeah. What's the
grease gun or
the one Bucky with the big circle thing? I don't know what the hell's the name.
Oh, the Tommy gun?
Tommy gun. Thank you.
Oh, I shot that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It's heavy as hell. It's heavy. It shoots a 45 slug, but it's got all that wood too.
Well, it's basically a 45 with a big attachment. Kind of.
Yeah. Well, I think it had the drum, not the stick. So and it pulls up to the right like
Yeah.
that. So you know when you see those gangster movies where the guys are spraying like this,
Yeah, it
that's
does
the
it.
only way you can hit anything.
Right.
You know, I shot a Barrett 50 cal. I shot an M4. I
Ever
shot
shoot
an
a Gatling gun
M60.
like Arnold did in Terminator?
Oh,
The Gatling?
did he have an M60 in it?
No, I'm
Or
saying that big Gatling gun.
yeah, he had that shit, I forget what that's called. They usually attach it to helicopters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That'd been cool. That was a badass.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, I shot a 50 cal that was mounted on the back of a Jeep too. So, you pull the thing and that was fun.
What were your targets? Like just
They've got like for the 50 cal, there's a big dune out in the back, and there's some plates, and like there's a Yeti out there and some other,
it must have
things.
some kind of figures or something.
Yeah, they got those out there, and then they also have the was it telenite, that exploding powder that you can hit, and it pops.
Yeah.
Telenite, something something like that. I forget what it's called. And you hit those targets, and they go up. That's cool to see.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That man,
Yeah.
It's like it's for a hobby now, or self-defense, but people had to use those consistently way back.
Tannerite, that's it.
Tannerite.
Yeah. Thank you, John.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's already 20 of 10.
Oh yeah. So wait, shit, we haven't even ended the stream.
I know, we're still going
I thought for a minute there, I thought we were backstage. Okay.
Good
Everybody,
night, guys.
thank you so much. Thanks for rejoining us after the vacation. We will see you again next week when we do Plato's Stepchildren. I hope you enjoyed it. It's good to be back.
We'll talk about Anna's fetish for midgets.
Yes. and maybe Aaron will have his internet back. Until then, we'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
What time is it?
5:30, sir.